This is a video on linear equations and graphs. So for graphs, what to know? The horizontal line on the graph is called the x-axis, and the vertical line is called the y-axis. Now this type of graph is split into 4 sections or quadrants: quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. The point at the very center is the origin point, and coordinates are points in the graph. The origin is also a point on the graph. To write them, write down where it is on the x-axis and where it is on the y-axis. Coordinates are written as x, y, or where it is on the x-axis and where it is on the y-axis. For example, this is a point on the graph. Now this is 2 on the x-axis and 4 on the y-axis, so we'd write it as 2, 4. The slope formula. The slope of a line can be found using the slope formula. And in this formula, m is what you're trying to find, the slope. This can also be written as slope equals rise over run, or slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This might seem confusing, but all it means is that you need to subtract one pair of coordinates from the other. If your two coordinate points are 1, 2, and 3, 4, your equation would look like m equals 4 minus 2 over 3 minus 1. And we would have 4 minus 2 since y in the second set of coordinates is 4 and y in the first pair of coordinates is 2. So y2 minus y1 would be 4 minus 2. And for 3 minus 1, we have 3 minus 1 since the x in the second pair of coordinates is 3 and the x in the first pair of coordinates is 1. So we have 3 minus 1. And since 2 over 2 is 1, the slope is 1. This method can be used to find the slope of every line except for a vertical line, which has no slope. So in order to find the slope of a line, you need to have two coordinate points to compare. Linear equations. Linear equations are equations which create straight lines when graphed and do not contain exponents higher than 1. This means that all the terms in the equation are to the first power. Linear equations have 3 main forms: slope-intercept form, standard form, and point-slope form. Let's go over each one. Slope-intercept form. This is written as y equals mx plus b. Now if you were to graph this out, m would be the slope of the line and b would be the y-intercept, or where the line crosses the y-axis. If you were to graph a line based off of y equals 2x plus 0, what would it look like? First, for graphing a line, we have to graph the y-intercept. Remember the y-intercept, which is represented by the variable b in this case, can be written as 0, b, or for this line, 0, 0. Using the slope, figure out what another point would be. If the slope is 2, we can write it as 2 over 1. The rise is 2 and the run is 1. We can use this to get another point in the line. For our line, we now have 2, 4. Now that we have 2 points, we can just draw a line going through those points. We just graphed our first line, hooray! Standard form. Standard form is written as ax plus by equals c. Now, this might look like it's just all variables, but a, b, and c are constants, meaning they're not variables like x or y, but they're placeholders for integers. A must also be a positive number. For example, a standard form equation can be 3x plus 2y equals 5, since 3, 2, and 5 are integers, and 3 is positive, not zx plus wy equals a. Since z, w, and a are not constants, they're variables. Standard form is helpful if you're trying to find the y or x-intercept of a line, where the line crosses the y or x-axis. For finding the y-intercept, you can change the x variable to 0 and vice versa. Just a note, make sure that there are no fractions for a, b, or c. They must be whole numbers, and that a is non-negative. There are methods to change equations in different forms to standard form, and vice versa. For example, for slope-intercept form to standard form, just move the x and y variables so they are on the same side of the equation. Make sure that a is positive and that all constants are integers, not fractions. Point-slope form. For point-slope form, y1, x1 is a point on a line. Now, point-slope form is written as y minus y1 equals m, open parentheses, x minus x1, close parentheses. y1 is a y-coordinate on a line, and x1 is an x-coordinate on a line, and m stands for the slope. Do you think you can do this? Here's an example. Write an equation in point slope for when a line slope is 4 and a coordinate on the line is 1, 4. We would write it as y minus 4 equals 4, open parentheses, x minus 1, close parentheses. And write an equation in point slope form for when a line slope is negative 3 and a coordinate on the line is negative 2, 9. We would write this as y minus 9 equals negative 3, open parentheses, x plus 2. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something new today.